Welcome back to Lesson 7, the focused interview. Look, at this point, we've been through the screening interview. You've been through the who interview. If you've got a candidate that's in the focused interview, they should probably be your top 1, 2, or 3 candidates for the job. We're going to really pour the resources on to make sure we make the right selection during this interview process. So the focused interview. So number one, get your job. If you've not been using your job scorecard up to this point, get it out now because we're going to start scoring on here. We are going to interview and develop a score. I recommend a 1 to 10 for each functional accountability, for each competency, and each core value fit. So interview and say, what is my level of confidence? 10 is, God, I mean, they nailed it. 1 is, no way. They're probably not at this interview if you've given them a 1. But at the end of this interview, you want to have a score in each one of these boxes. Now, I recommend, especially with senior level or high risk hires, that we divide the interview up across multiple interviewers. So these could be peers, these could be peers of the candidate, right? People they'll be working with. They could be others that you just want to bring into the process. It could be your boss, could be other executives that are in the organization. If you're a CEO, it could be a board member. But when you divide it up, give the person doing the interview in the job scorecard and make it clear that you're looking for a 1 to 10 score on their level of confidence that this candidate can deliver on the functional accountability, or your level of confidence that they have mastered this competency that's important in this role, or your level of confidence that they're going to live this core value. Get that specific during this interviewing process. And for a lot of clients, this is, again, for a senior level hire, this could be an all-day interview. For somebody, for a direct employee, it could be an hour. So it needs to scale depending on the job. But I'm going to speak as if we're hiring, strategic hires or senior level hires in the company. Some additional consideration, individual team members should be assigned specific areas to interview for. These interviews can be conducted individually, one-on-one, or they can be conducted in teams. I've seen both used efficiently. I tend to bias more towards individual interviews. I just feel like sometimes team interviews put sometimes undue pressure and confusion on the candidate, but you have to figure out, what works in your environment for your time available and resources of everybody involved. Highly recommend role plays. They're powerful indicators of future performance. And, maybe most importantly, be creative. Southwest Airlines had a promise of low fares, lots of flights, and lots of fun. And they wanted to hire people that were competent at their job, but they also wanted to hire people that were fun, had a self-deprecating sense of humor that was so important to their culture. And so when they hired pilots, they'd put them in a room of 8 to 10 of them in a room, and HR would come in. Of course, they'd all be buttoned up with their suits on and ready to really execute a great interview. And HR would come in and hand them all a set of clothes that included a Hawaiian shirt and a pair of shorts. And they'd say, hey, we've got a casual atmosphere here. We want you to get comfortable. You're going to be here for a while interviewing, so we want you to be comfortable. And then they would read the body language. And those pilots that acted like they were too good to put on the brown shorts were moved to column B. And those that were like, hey, no problem, they moved those into column A. Column A continued on in the interviewing process. Column B, they sent up the road to American to interview up there. No, in all seriousness, the A's moved forward. The B candidates were separated out of the interview process because they were looking for a creative way to find pilots that would embrace their core value of lots of fun. So be creative. There's a lot of different ways to get at the right answers here, to get the right fit. So don't limit yourself in how you do this. Now, when we come back to lesson 8, I'm going to dig into a lot of specific details on how to run these interviews. I'm going to give you some principles for you to hang your hat on, and I'm going to give you specific strategies that you can apply as you're interviewing to really take the level of effectiveness to the next level. So I look forward to seeing you back here at lesson 8, where we talk about principles and strategies for successful selection.